Steve Gunter, and welcome to our traditional New Year's music service, quite often a blues service, as we are having one today featuring Steve Gunter, my favorite blues guitarist in these parts for sure, and he's returning. He's done a couple of other programs for us in the past. First I should introduce myself. I'm Thom, Botsford, a long-time member and friend. If you have brought devices into the church, please silence them. And I did not receive any joys or concerns. No one turned any joys and concerns into me, so if any of you have those and you want to pass those up, I'll be glad to share them at another time. Now, by the way, Happy New Year. In years past, my New Year's Eve was spent playing gigs and staying up real late, so now it's a nice change to come in early in the morning and hear some blues for sobriety, I guess you could say, as we welcome in the new year. We actually have some music events coming up in the church that I hope it will be of interest to you. There's a Light the Darkness Music Festival, mini festival, on Saturday, January the 14th. And we're asking everybody to participate, bring appetizers and snacks to share. We'll offer some beer and wine, and we're going to put out a plea for soft drinks. Oh, if you have some beer and wine donations, we could use those. You can put them in the kitchen anytime, and the crew will make sure that they are well chilled as needed. Patty Underwood is in charge of this. So we have actually 3 events for our mini festival. We have a 2 o'clock, about a 4 o'clock, and a 6 o'clock event. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that later on. I'd like to introduce Steve to you, those of you who don't know him. He goes back to the 70s music scene in Pensacola. That is a long way back. For instance, one of the bands he played around with, I had played with a couple of times, a band called Pot Liquor, all the way back in the 70s. He's been playing rock and roll and blues for many years. Many venues are very popular at the beach, and I've heard Steve play some very high energy party blues that's popular on the beach. Today's program won't be quite in that vein. One of the interesting things about Steve is, in addition to doing the party music, he knows a lot of classic blues forms that other people don't play much anymore. He plays them extremely well. And what is interesting to me as I listen to the tunes he's selected is, when you talk about blues, just how varied the blues can be, how many different forms it can take. For instance, the music that we heard coming in kind of had a ragtime feel, but it's full of blue notes, and that's something else we'll talk about today. Blue notes, it's full of blue notes, and that makes it the blues. Let's see. Yeah, some people wonder, why do you want us, people who don't listen to blues and know much about blues, why would you want to spend your time listening to sad stuff, depressing stuff? And the point is, the blues may begin in sadness, in woe, but when they're performed, there's a therapy there. There's a release, and often they do become party music. Those old country blues evolved over the years. You added rhythm, and what did you have? Rhythm and blues. Rhythm and blues evolved into what? Rock and roll. So you can see a very important direct link of these old blues to all kinds of modern forms. I thought we would begin today with just a standard. You could call it an all-purpose blues. You could play almost anything over this particular set of chords. This is called the KC Blues, Kansas City, apparently. So you could put you can put different songs in that. I added the Swinging Shepherd Blues. I don't know if you remember that. Okay, let's see what we got next.
You know what's amazing? I'm going to butt in here for a second. I love this man's playing, besides being a great person. And just right now, I mean, I'm barely with it right now. It's way too early. But just as soon as he starts playing, I just get energy, so much energy off him. He's such a monster. So there, I've said it.
Well, I'm blessed. Thank you. That's very nice. When I have a good read, let's put it that way. Well, next we like the chalice. Some of this. And now, if you will join me in reciting the covenant, stand if you will, if you're willing and able. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Thank you very much. You may be seated. And now we will have the collection, the offertory. This church depends on contributions, totally member supported and friend supported. So we welcome your help. You may recognize this tune. Thank you, Steve. Blowing in the Wind. Steve is going to play now a series of blues and blues-influenced tunes, but before we do that, maybe just a comment or two on what we mean by the word blues. We have some announcements here, too. Let's see if we... You know, you can define the blues by their lyrics, you know, the words, and you can define the blues just by the music that is played. If you're defining them just by their lyrics, they tend to come in certain types of stanzas. Now, blues purists are those who always want things the way they originally were, so at any rate, quite often what you have in blues lyrics is a three-line stanza. The first line repeats the second line, and the third line is a punchline. The moon looks lonesome when it's shining through the trees. Yes, the moon looks lonesome when it's shining through the trees. And a man looks lonesome when his woman packs up to leave, for instance, would be a typical verse. I remember one that was particularly poignant. It was blues called Jelly Jelly, and it went something like this. Jelly, 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 jelly on my mind. Jelly, 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 jelly on my mind. Jelly roll done kill my papa, roll my mama stone blind. Now, that'll make you pause when you stop and think about that. What that might mean. Jelly roll and jelly is a metaphor for, I think.
We'll use our imagination.
Right. So that's a very common blues lyrical form, but you don't always have to have that type of lyric structure. There are no group of people who say to have blues, they need to have 8 bars or 12 bars or 16 bars and certain structures, certain chord changes. That's one way to look at it. I think I had a chart here of blue notes. Do you have that on there? Yeah. Oh. Why don't we pause just a minute since some joys and sorrows came in, if you will forgive me. Carolyn Tokson is expressing the joy, thank you very much, of finding a church where I feel perfectly comfortable. Amen to that. Sure. This is from Daniel and Heather. Linda has fallen and broken her hip. She has undergone surgery and is recovering well in an excellent rehab, but could all use your well wishes. Right. Okay, this is another note on the same, but she's in Lakeland near her daughter. if that helps. So sorry to hear about that. We were talking about how people define the blues. You can do it by lyrics, or you can do it by the music itself. Yes. Yes.
I can't write legibly by handshakes, but would you please light a candle for the people in Buffalo
I certainly will.
and our neighbors to the north?
Yeah, the snow.
I lived through a couple of those blizzards and then
Mhm.
so.
All right, we will do that. Yeah, thank you, Kate. By the way, anybody else want to call us and add something? Okay. Here we go. When musicians play the blues, they're worried about what music do you play. And many of them, most of them, I think, just pick it up. They listen, and they listen, and they learn it. It's always been learned by ear. But if you analyze it, of course, the blues were around long before anybody put a chart up, or even called them things, or classified them. But when they tried to put the blues up on a Western music scale, this is what we had. And you'll see this, this is the piano, those of you who've taken piano or studied some music, and you go to middle C on the piano. There you go, middle C is the first one. That's the C major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. If you want to hit a blue note, see that first interval?
It's like this here, if I read the right note.
Mm-hmm.
That's the blue note.
Now, it doesn't do just to play it. You can't just play the E flat. You got to twist it, bend it, break it, punctuate, all kinds of, and some people do it very well, and some people don't. And some of the stuff really can't be notated. It's so complex, like what some of Robert Johnson would do. So that's what's interesting. And look at this, you have a third, the flatted third, and then also go up to the seventh, all the way up there. That's the flatted seventh. Those are the two common ones. And then in more modern blues and jazz, they started flatting the fifth.
Yeah.
Well, the Dixieland players didn't like that. They said, I drink my fifths, I don't flat them. but again, it's not just playing those notes. It's bending and twisting them in certain ways. And those are the blue note areas of the scale. I just thought that was interesting. Give you some type of concrete idea of what's going on with blues. It's a minor scale. Yeah, Mike.
That's why we should have a slide guitar and show
Yeah.
real variations off of that.
Right. So anyway, enough technical tale, but also just one other reminder about the history of this music, whether it's a straight 8-bar blues or whether it's just the blue tonality in a piece of jazz, is it did come from African American people. It didn't just come from Africa, it didn't just come from America. The originators were African American. And it's just important to realize that that's what happened, and we have not really understood the contribution and the development of this music until we look at it in the 20th century and see what's happened with the blues and all that's developed out of it. So it's just important to remember that part of history. Okay, Steve, you want to start with a Hoagie Carmichael tune, right? Lazy Bones?
Yeah. This, well, it starts right off the bat with some blue notes. You'll hear them. Well, my humble interpretation, and it'll give you an idea. Just there's right, the second note you hear is a blue note. That's if I don't miss it. Hear it? Lazy bones, sleeping in the sun. I just back to get your own day's work done. never get your day work done. Lying in the noonday sun, lazy bones, sleeping in the shade. How you expect to get your coming way? You never get your coming way. Lying in the noonday shade. When the potatoes need spraying, I bet you keep praying, but fall off of the vine. And when you go fishing, bet you keep wishing, fish don't tug in your line. Lazy bones, loafing through the day. How do you expect to make yourself a dime that way? You never make it down that way. Never hear a word I got to say. Fall off of the vine. And when you go fishing, I bet you keep wishing the fish don't tug your line. Lazy bones, loafing through the day. How you expect to make yourself a dime that way? You never make it down that way. And never hear a word I got to say. Never make it down that way. I never hear a word I got to say. Holy Carmichael did that one. We wrote millions of great songs. Just
Yeah. Well, what would you like to do next?
says here, ain't misbehaved.
Okay. Ain't misbehaved?
We're going to feature the man.
No.
I ain't misbehaving, I saved all my love for you. I don't persuade the one I love. I'm thinking fake, just you, I'm leaving up. I ain't misbehaving, I saved all my love for you. Even going, don't go nowhere, what do I care? Your kisses, they gotta be worth waiting for. I don't stay out late, I don't care to go. I'm home around late, just beating my radio. I ain't misbehaving, I'm saving all my love for you. Mr. Thom. well, what do I care? Your kisses, they got to be worth waiting for. I know they are. I don't stay out, don't care go. I'm home about it, just me and my iPad. I ain't misbehaving, I'll save it all my love for you. Ain't misbehaving, I'll save it all my love for you. Sorry, some of these sound have certain similarities in just the way it worked out this time. I had my guitar that some of you may have seen me before playing slide guitar. Well, my guitar that I used for that fell apart. It's an old beast, and sitting for 3 years since what we've all been through. I didn't know it, but opened up the case the other day, and the neck had come loose. What? My baby. But it's just, as a friend of mine says that works on guitars, it's just an old piece of wood with strings on it. So even if it is 90 years old, as a beauty. You probably have seen me play it before. Anyway, so no slide today. I'm sorry. But anyway, this here is a lead belly tin, and similar to the others, yet somehow different. You're telling a joke.
Yes, I hear.
Oh, you got it? Okay. Mass chaos up here. Thank you, Tom. Thank you. Should have had it up here.
Tell me a little bit about Leadbelly. What are some of the other tunes? Good Night Irene. Actually, Leadbelly has he's Texas, isn't he? I think he's Texas, and he was in prison a long time.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And it has kind of a country flair. A lot of his.
Well, Corina was one of the American classics.
Yeah.
You know, and it's actually similar to Alberta structurally, and even the melody line is a whole different world.
Yeah. Leadbelly. Well.
You want to go for it?
Well, sure. Yeah. Are you good with finger snapping?
Huh?
Are you good with finger snapping?
Yeah,
Well, this is a tune that has to have. This is a tune that has to. My aging fingers don't snap so well anymore.
Aging fingers.
Fever.
Yes. Where did we? I forget we were in G minor or yeah, I think it's in this key. You can direct right here. You never know how much I love you. Never know how much I care. When you put your arms around me, I get a feeling that's so hard to bear. When you kiss me, feel when you hold me tight. We'll be all through the night. Listen to me, baby. Hear every word I say. See what I can love it the way that you do. You do that on the right way. You give me fever. When you kiss me, people need to hold me tight.
that was a Peggy Lee hit, but I think she took it from somebody more obscure, which is often the case on some of these tunes that are pop tunes, like Hound Dog. Remember, you ain't nothing but a hound dog. That didn't come from Elvis. That came from some earlier blues. I guess we can't have too big of a party here because we don't have drums and a bass. But do you think you could do some of that sugar-coated? Yeah. This is a little more energy than some of the others.
Yeah, when I played here last time, we had this fabulous drummer. He was unbelievable, and he played with us. Anyway, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. It was 3 years ago now, right?
About 3 years ago.
It's hard to believe, man. 3 years. Anyway, so much for that. It's just a straight up raw blues, and I got it from an incredible group called the Thunderbirds. I don't know who did it originally. Well, you ought to see my baby. The girls are so fine. She loved me in the morning, every night. She's always on my mind. She thought she should cool the world. Just shoot for the love. She's a real long baby. I don't need a baby that's really mine. Well, I don't have to worry about money. Don't have to worry about clothes. Don't have to worry about anything. She's my baby. Goodness knows she got a sugar. Yes, she's my love. She's a long baby. I don't need a baby sitting mine. Thomas. It's just my interpretation of one. It's not really. Never mind. Let's play the damn thing. I got a sweet little angel. I love the way she spread me. I got a sweet little angel. I love The waves is raining all around me. I got joy in everything. As my baby for a nickel, she gave me $20 bill. Yeah, my baby for a nickel, she gave me $20 bill. As my baby for a nickel, yeah, the whiskey's too. Tell me the reason why.
All right. Yeah. People angel. And I'm so glad you did that. I know you have trouble with the guitars, but giving us that touch of that deep, dark slide work. You know, originally that was done on bottlenecks, right? Bottlenecks. And it's amazing the history of it. Well, the blues is supposed to make you feel better. I mean, you may feel horrible when you compose one, but eventually singing about it, you know.
That made me feel better.
Right, and then of course you can add rhythm to it. Rhythm and blues is really a highly flexible, amazing form. As this Smithsonian book says, even when you pull a tune out that has nothing to do with blues, like All the Things You Are. I don't know if any of you, I think it's Jerome Kern. I mean, a jazz player just takes that and plays blues all through it. I mean, just blue note, that's how you tell a lot of times the kind of musician you have, because jazz really is blues plus a groove plus a jam. It's blues, groove, and jam equal jazz. If you just have the blues and the groove, you got rhythm and blues. But blues is in all of it, I think. So,
I'm glad that, I hope not to interrupt, but I just did. He was talking so much earlier about the blue notes, you know, early on. Well, the reason I love to play the slide, more so even when I'm playing on a regular electric guitar too, that goes like what we did. There's a freedom involved of bending strings and stuff, and that allows me to, or anybody, to incorporate so many blue notes into the song. And the slide is like the ultimate, because it's the closest thing to the human voice, you know. It allows you to just bend and do whatever you want. Like for instance, I can show you something right here real quick. All right, just to get to that note, this is the note, the main note, right? Sounds really weak, but anyway. But to bend it, I can go, there's several places to go to get there. I can just hit the note. I can add tremolo to it or vibrato.
Yeah.
But, it's pitch changes and stuff. And with the slide guitar, it's almost infinite what you can do. There's some guys out there nowadays that are scaring you to death. That have taken it to a level that never even was before. However,
That's
it
amazing.
ain't really necessary because the masters, like Robert Johnson, they did all that ever needed to be done with it.
Oh yeah, that's an interesting story. You ever heard the story of Robert Johnson? One of the greatest blues figures, died at 29, I think, something like that, like Hank Williams, tragic figure. I think he probably was poisoned by a jealous husband. These blues parties are pretty rough. But he wrote a lot of great blues, and including the famous Crossroad blues, and supposedly he made a deal with the devil at Crossroads. That enabled him to play so well, because that's the legend. The blues can be a lot of fun. And I would like to in conclusion, just to read you some lyrics, pick up where we talked about that famous line, the moon looks lonesome, shining through the trees. Oh, don't the moon look lonesome, shining through the trees. And a man looks lonesome when his woman backs up to leave. All right. So, refrain. I'm going down to the railroad and lay my head on the tracks. When the train comes in, I'm going to pull it right back.
I was going somewhere else with that.
Love is like a faucet. It turns off and on. When you think it's on, baby, it's turned off and gone. I'm going down to the railroad, yes, and lay my head on the tracks. But when that train comes in, I'm going to pull it right back. I want you to pull your head right back in this new year and have a great one. Thanks for joining us today with this blues program. Thank you. We'll just play some music for y'all to exit on and go to the refreshment table or something like that.
We'll figure something out here. Let's see. Another reason I was wanting to do the slides because I can incorporate millions of different paths to get to that note like I was talking about. I don't know what key we're in, but we're going to play.
We'll play that, KC Blues. Whatever, just play something.
I can't hear you.
KC Blues?
Well, I agree too.
Okay, well, go ahead. No, just play something.
I know what key it is. Well, mama, turn your bell down low. Well, mama, turn your bell down low. You sure like the baby, your blood jump on your dog. 'Cause I woke up this morning, had me on stage for the blues. Yeah, I woke up this morning, had me on stage for the blues. The brother in the corner of town, he seemed to have